Which is the best stock to buy? Xpeng or Rivian Automotive? XPEV or RIVN stock? Now, if you're an EV stock investor, these two are some of the more interesting choices you have if you're looking to go beyond Tesla and look at some of the competitors. So let's take a look at these two stocks and I will answer which one is the best one to buy. By the end of this video, I'm going to compare these two on 5 different metrics, starting with revenue. So let's get right into it. Xpeng has shown very nice revenue growth since launching around July of 2020. Revenue rising up to 1.2 billion before starting to come down a little bit to 996 million. Meanwhile, Rivian is just now ramping up production, reaching 663 million in revenue in its most recent quarter. And of course, the company has said it expects to double production in 2023 to closer to 50,000 units. So Rivian is growing, still ramping up production. I suspect it will surpass Xpeng, the Chinese EV automaker, very soon if it continues at this pace. However, the next metric I will look at will show Xpeng is doing a better job on the gross profit margin. Starting at -6% before July of 2020, that has risen all the way up to a very respectable 13.53%. I believe this puts Xpeng in second place in terms of the EV automakers in terms of gross profit margin, behind Tesla, who is the leader at 25%. Meanwhile, Rivian is still trying to reach profitability but having a very difficult time. Negative 150% gross profit margin in its most recent quarter. The company has said it will continue losing money in all of 2023 in terms of gross profit and hopes to turn positive in 2024. So it's still another year and a half away from turning positive in terms of gross profit, while Xpeng has already made progress on that front and continues to improve. Who knows, by the time Rivian turns positive in this metric, Xpeng may have reached the 20% levels. The next metric I wanted to look at is the operating profit margin over the trailing 12 months. And in this metric as well, Xpeng showing nice improvement, but still negative in this metric, negative 28.4%. Still way better than Rivian, who is also showing very nice progress, but still negative 413%. However, that is improving as the company is ramping up production. The next thing I wanted to look at, since these companies are losing money on the bottom line, I wanted to see their cash positions. And looking at this regard, Xpeng has $1.596 billion in cash, down from a peak of about $4.5 billion in cash in 2021. Rivian has much more cash on its balance sheet, 11.57 billion. That's down from nearly 16 billion in cash it had in January of 2022. However, it looks like Xpeng has stabilized in terms of cash burn, and in fact, it looks like it's adding to its cash balance in the most recent quarter. And looking at its positive gross profit margin, that makes sense. Meanwhile, Rivian is still burning through billions of dollars in cash, and I suspect that to continue throughout all of 2023. So it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of 2024, Rivian's cash position is a lot different than it is now. In fact, perhaps the company was worried about its cash burn. It looks like it's going out into the bond markets and it's going to borrow $1.3 billion in a convertible debt because it's worried that it's not going to have enough cash to really reach the scale that it wants to reach, because it keeps losing so much money just to ramp up production. It's doing so in arguably an ineffective and inefficient manner from what it seems like right now, looking at all of the cash that's going out. So finally, I wanted to look at the valuation to compare these two stocks, and I chose to use the forward price to sales ratio. Looking at this metric, Rivian is more than 3 times as expensive as Xpeng, trading at a forward price to sales of 3.38 compared to a forward price to sales of 1.1 for Xpeng. So I like that Xpeng has made more progress in terms of profitability, better gross margins, decreasing losses in operating margins, and decreasing the losses in terms of cash. And so if I had to pick one of these two EV stocks to buy, right now, I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. I would choose Xpeng. XPEV would be my choice between Rivian and Xpeng right now. Alright, so that's all I've got for this video. As always, I truly appreciate your viewership. If you like this video, I'm going to link you to a couple of my other videos that I think you will enjoy. I'll also add a link to a couple of my playlists where I've ranked hundreds of videos in terms of whether or not they are buys or sells or hold, hundreds of companies I should say, and have done comparisons across hundreds of companies. I think you'll enjoy that, so click on one of those and I'll see you over there.